right, coming at you almost live from the West Coast to the Gulf Coast by way of the Taiwanese coast and the East Coast. And if you're being honest, somewhere in there probably figures in Space Ghost coast to coast. How you doing?
Good, man. How are you?
Oh, pretty good. I don't know if you need to be gained up or not. Let me hide that up. All right, so what are we going with? Odd Crew Rules? Is that what we're calling this?
Well, we're calling it Odd Crew Rules.
Yeah, you need to gain your microphone up.
How do I do that?
I don't know. It's your microphone. Gain it up or get closer to it.
How about now?
That's a little better. Yeah, that should do it. Okay, that should do it. All right, so this episode is The Long Kiss, Goodnight. When's this movie came out? Like 1996, I think?
Yes, 96 is what's stamped.
96 is what's stamped on on the torrent file that you have, probably. So I'm just trying to think. We almost certainly saw this movie together at one point in the late 90s or early 2000s, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we did. We had one of those get-togethers at the apartment or house or
this would
something.
be, I think, yeah, when you guys were jumping apartments like every 6-9 months.
No, we were pretty steady during the beginning. I mean, it was like 1 year.
Every time the lease was up, get something a little bit better.
No, like we try to stay. I think the very first apartment we were just like 1 year and that was it. But yeah, the second one we were there 5, then the next one was a little longer, and then we got the house after that.
Oh, okay. Everything's a little bit differently. I do feel like Cable used to play this movie.
I've only had like 6 addresses in my address history, though.
I've had a couple more than 6, maybe like 60.
Well, wow.
One time I had to do a 10-year background check to get into a federal building, and they wanted 10 years of address history. It took me like 2 weeks to figure out all the places I technically lived in the last 10 years.
You know, it's funny you mentioned that. Like once in a while, I do get like credit check or some other check online, and they pop up this address. I was like, oh yeah, I did live there. Out of the group of addresses that it lists, like, have you lived here in the last 20 years? Like,
oh, really?
Random. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. When you do something online and they need to check it's you by like asking you some obscure piece of information about yourself.
Yep.
And it gives you like several addresses that are pretty close to somewhere you live, but not quite on it.
Yeah. Usually it's like
that is the most nerve-wracking experience of proving who you are.
Yeah.
Anytime that happens.
Did I live here? I don't remember. I might have. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So this film, it's a great movie. It's not like the best movie ever made, but it's pretty damn good.
It has got some really great one-liners throughout the entire movie embedded. Before we pre-watched this, I'm sure you did too, and it's just like every 5 minutes there was a one-liner here and there.
Yeah, it's Shane Black, and Shane Black had a reputation back in the day for being very tight with his scripts and also very funny, like a lot of comedy in those scripts. Mm-hmm. And there was one I caught in my rewatch today where I was actually watching it, not playing Risk of Rain 2 while watching it. And which I did twice just to kind of get a feel for it.
Oh, okay.
And because the internet has given me adult ADD.
Yeah.
On this one, when the news starts playing in the prison sequence, the news is like ultra glib and it's zooming in on it, and the guy goes, and that's it for the skydiving Santa, meaning the skydiving Santa died in the last news clip. I've never caught that little line before. It's just like so glib and crazy about, Santa just died, moving right along. And then he calls Mrs. Claus a hottie.
Yeah.
The news guy. It's very like sarcastic. I love it. This movie is basically a much more fun girl Jason Bourne movie.
Yeah, that's kind of what the feeling I get a little bit from it. The whole amnesia thing, it's pre Jason Bourne, pretty much.
Oh, way before Jason Bourne, and much more, I hate to use this word, but like the action's a lot more physical feeling and like raw than the Jason Bourne movies. He just kind of taps on them a few times and they fall down a lot of the time, sparing that fight with the pen in the first one where he just goes at that dude with a pen. But then in the later ones, they're all quick cuts and like shot real in close, and you can't really tell what's happening. And he just taps on them a bunch of times. It does his acupressure, and they fall down.
Yep.
And this, basically, anytime Samuel L. Jackson encounters anyone, he ends up beaten up and naked and tied in a cellar.
True.
Yeah. Great little film in terms of like pre-awesome Samuel L. Jackson, where he plays such a loser. Like, this is the exact opposite of a movie where the female character is the most underdrawn character in the whole movie.
Yep.
The weakest character in this movie is absolutely her incredibly empty-headed husband. Who's just there as like window dressing.
Yeah, like he appeared in, I think I count 4 scenes, and I don't understand why.
You have to have him. Well, usually in a movie like this, there's like in the Jason Bourne movie, the first one, there's just a girl he's hanging out with for a while and murdering people around, and she just magically falls in love with him. You don't actually have that subplot at all, but what you do have is just like the very thinly drawn male husband character is just kind of, well, he's really cool. Because at no point in this whole scenario does he even seem to think about, like, maybe I should get away from this woman, which would be the first thing going through my mind after a guy came into my house with a shotgun and started shooting grenades and stuff.
Yeah. And, you know, like, I just wondered, like, towards the end of the movie, where was he when the daughter got kidnapped, the wife is missing? Like, where's his mindset at?
I don't know. Maybe he thought he was just finally out from, because it's not his kid, right? She was supposedly like pregnant when she fell off that cliff. Yep. And then somehow survived that, and then also had the baby and this backed up with this dude in his, you know, $1.5 million house by today's standards.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah. So yeah, the story is that she is an amnesiac with secret killer powers, which I've always hoped would be something that happened to me. Like, I've always wanted the Jason Bourne safety deposit box with 9 identities, $20,000, and a handgun. But sadly, I can account for all my time, so there isn't like a 4-year period where I was in some black bag organization, I don't think.
Yeah, well, some days you just gotta like get that go bag ready to go.
Oh, we all have them
in a secret train station.
Everyone has a go bag in New Orleans, but it's not for that. It's for, oh crap, I got to get in my car and drive away from a hurricane as fast as humanly possible. Yeah, I guess I could just make the go bag at a safety deposit box and put a gun in it and stuff just to have it, and then hope that stuff kicks in at some point. But no, but where would the training have gone? Because I remember everything, like, you know, from kindergarten forward. Maybe I've been brainwashed out of being a super spy. Maybe you're like an AI construct to keep me in line.
Maybe. I don't know, man.
Fuck.
Well, it's like we are all like, after this movie, Samuel L. Jackson just steps in all badass roles. It's like, oh, you know, you watch this movie and you're like, oh.
Well, I think he got,
just at one point
he got to Jurassic Park and people found out that he could say, hold on to your butts, really cool. And that was probably one of the last movies he ever died in. And he doesn't die again in a movie that I can remember up until Django Unchained.
Yeah.
Jurassic Park, he also gets like completely eviscerated. Throughout this movie, every time Samuel L. Jackson tries to do anything to help, he seems to, except for the sequence towards the end where he's like, I gotta be a better person and shoot all these criminals while walking across the field. Aside from that, he's completely useless until the end of the film, basically. Yeah. Except as a private eye.
I mean, even then, he was just like barely hanging on. He's just driving.
He just like driving and being cool.
Yeah, he did the driving and being cool, rescued everybody at the end, at least, you know, rescued the main character and the daughter. But yeah, that's it. Like, you know, nothing else. He tries to go and play hero and couldn't cut it. After.
Well, he's often got like really good ideas, like when they stick up the phone company.
Oh yeah. That was like the one really cool thing. I actually thought that scene was pretty neat, except for like when she was like, "You over there, run me this reverse trace on reverse
40
something
seconds.
Trace." I'm like, what?
Yeah, even at my job that I know how to do, which I don't think of phone company employees as hyper competent because I deal with them a lot. I would be like, "You're just gonna have to shoot me." 40 seconds. It isn't barely enough time to wet my pants. You've got a gun in my face. Yeah.
And also when Samuel Jackson answered the phone posing as the hotel clerk, like shouldn't the bad guy know like who is at the motel or whatever?
Well, he should know Samuel L. Jackson because they kidnapped him, stripped him naked, and threw him in a cellar.
Yeah, like the first time.
I don't know. He wasn't involved there, I guess. The bad guys just kind of like exist in this movie in the background until they need them. They just kind of have something going on, and then they just pop up when they're needed, and then disappear again.
There was like a two or three layer bad guy thing going. You had the main pretty boy bad guy who, you know, she had the kid with supposedly, and then you had the secondary older bad guy who she thought she also had a romantic relationship with, and then you had the government
Ed Harris Light. Yeah. There's everyone in the movie is kind of a character actor except for the two main leads. Like everyone's like vaguely recognizable.
Yeah.
But nobody's like super famous.
Well, Brian Cox is pretty famous, but he didn't last that long either.
Brian Cox what's he play in this? Is he the?
He's the old dude. Yeah, he's the guy that's got the gun next to the Willie. Nobody. Yeah,
but he's one of those guys. Like he's pretty famous, but he's not.
Yeah, he's also, I guess, more of a character actor. He always plays the same like angry old man type of thing.
Yeah, isn't he out there chasing Jason Bourne? Also, he's the glue
yes, he is.
that ties these together.
Yeah, that's how it all makes sense, right?
In this movie, they don't have to constantly cut back to a room full of computer nerds to chase her because it was just back in the day. They're just like, tap the phone.
Yeah.
When she calls the phone, we'll go wherever she says she's going.
And that's the thing too, is like the bad guy also made mention of like, I don't like to get a hold of you on cellular telephone. I was like, cellular telephone? Wow.
And the phones they have are like the size of their vehicle.
Yeah,
she's
like,
like,
a Nokia.
Towards the end, the phone starts ringing. She's like, I forgot I had this thing. Like, how could you forget you had like a 2 tape loading VCR on your person? That thing is huge.
Yeah, that thing was pretty big. It wasn't no Zach Morris Motorola big, but
at the beginning of the movie, so she's in the Santa Claus parade, I think with the guy who tries to molest her and then dies for that sin later in the thing with the deer.
Yeah, the One-Eyed Jack or whatever. Oh, you're talking about the older guy.
The old guy. I think he was maybe Santa Claus, or maybe that was a different actor.
No, he was just an old actor that was
just
like
their friend.
Neighbor friend, yeah. And he just was like trying to play dumb drunk and cup of feel type of thing.
Mm-hmm. You're like, I'm sorry, but no, he committed a sin, so he gets to burn to death slowly in that car. I thought she was going to go. Every time I watch this, so they're driving, she's not drunk, he tries to molest her because he's a dirty old man, and this causes her to hit a deer in like the worst way possible, where the deer's legs come through the front of the vehicle and are just kicking everyone. Everything in this is practical too. I really enjoyed that. Like there's an animatronic deer, and she goes flying out of the vehicle after their little Christmas party where the little molestation happens, trying to drive this old drunk home, and gets up, starts to have her first flashback. So this is another thing I noticed on this watch of the movie. Every time she encounters hyper cold water, she has a flashback.
Right, because the shock just brings that trigger memory.
Thrown into the ocean. So in this scene, she comes flying out of the car. This is a great stunt too. It just looks so good. She collapses in the snow. Easy way to hide the airbag too. Just have it be snow.
Yeah, I mean that's cool, but like practically, like people probably just die from that.
Oh no, the action in this movie makes no physical sense. It's not like a Terminator film where it's pretty grounded, except that it's like hyper awesome. Like every time there's action, it doesn't make any sense, but it's awesome. Every single, you have to just accept that they live in like basically our normal world with like accounts receivable and people have mortgages and 401ks and stuff, but physics involving guns and fighting work way differently in this movie. She walks through the water. I think she has a little bit of a flashback there that she's coming back on herself, and then she snaps
the deer's head. Yeah.
Looks back at the car where the guy's obviously going to burn to death horribly, and just screw it.
Yep. Just pass out right there instead of like, oh, let me muster up, some more strength. Nope, I'm out.
It does kind of up the stakes. Like, oh, they killed a little old grandpa guy. I mean, he was a molesty little old grandpa guy, but he's a little old grandpa guy. He burned to death horribly. And then, so they've established that. They've established the amnesia part with the kid. I really enjoy, like I was saying, like the husband's not really well drawn, but they did like have a pretty well drawn like newlywed home life.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, like
real fun little family.
So the thing about that too, again, with some of these movies and like other movies I've seen, right? The logistics of a legal person existing in the
It
U.S.
just sprung up
working.
out of the ground like Snoop Dogg
Yeah,
looking for weed in that movie.
yeah. Like how does she have a freaking job as a teacher with amnesia, no education background to speak of, no social security number? But yeah, sure, you can get a job as a public servant. Sure, why not?
Oh, she's white, so
Yeah,
it's just fine. Like, you seem to be an American. Like, this was back when people were a little bit less concerned about race so much too. There's like
yeah, that's
no
true.
racial jokes in the whole movie, I don't think.
No,
Well, no,
not
there's
at
a
all.
couple, but they're not like the stupid like. Now you hear people like, well, I tell racial jokes to refuse racial tension. They're just like, this is just how people kind of talk. You get that impression from Samuel L. Jackson. He does a driving Miss Daisy joke,
Yes, yes, yeah. I thought that was the
which is like,
best.
I think probably the weakest joke in the movie.
It was, but it made perfect sense.
And then he does, yeah, it's period appropriate for sure. But then he also, when she's trying to chew on his ear and all that, he's like, oh, you gonna fuck the help? And like that is more like the sort of conversation that would come out of that situation. I love also Samuel L. Jackson just is cool, even when he's playing like a loser, which this guy's a total loser. He's like shaking down people for fake prostitution instead of being a private eye. He's estranged from his son. He's horrible at telling jokes. He tells the worst jokes, and he's like so stupid that he's telling his joke while he's doing a fake prostitution scheme
Yep.
to pry some money out of somebody. And it's a bad joke. But then halfway through the movie, he's going through the other grandpa, Brian Cox's trunk, and there just happens to be a perfect pimp suit in there for Samuel L. Jackson that fits perfectly.
Yeah, I mean the guy is a lot shorter than him and an overweight, but yeah,
He just has
sure.
all this stuff, and Samuel L. Jackson just pulls it out, puts it on, and from that moment on, Samuel L. Jackson's like half a pimp. Because that's after that, too, when she starts to find out who she is after she saves him. They go to some hotel, which is just basically a pimp's apartment. That crazy hotel there for the rest of the movie. It's like, this is what the guy from The Shining, the cook from The Shining would live in if he had like mad money. You just add those naked Lady Black pictures back in, and he's back on it.
I thought for like a split second, I'm like, how did I get from New York to Vegas? Because that's what that apartment seemed like. But it probably was just some like
I think it's supposed to be
backwoods
Atlantic City
casino.
or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think they actually named the hotel. I think it's a real hotel. But if I went to somebody's house and it looked like that, first of all, like, this guy fucks. And if he doesn't, he's wasted a lot of money. The bubble wall thing.
Yeah, no, that's totally crazy.
Yeah, so what happens exactly? The guy who initially threw her off a cliff to kill her, I guess he was shooting at her to kill her. He was going to give her a shot, which I thought was going to kill her, but that must not have been going to kill her, because she put that shot in his eye with that hypodermic needle. And aside from not having an eye anymore, he seems fine.
Yep.
But he saw her on the news in prison.
Which it was like through a graded back
old
security
school.
TV.
Yeah.
And it's like, how do you see, like, you can't barely
No,
make
it
out the
sucks.
picture.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
yet,
being
with
in
his
prison
one
sucks.
good eye,
Yeah.
he's able to make out what she looks like with a different hairdo and everything.
In a Santa Claus hat. Well, it's because she has those enormous teeth.
Yeah, that's true.
Gina Davis's teeth in this are like they got their own credit. His giant smile that goes like from ear to, she could play the Joker with like very little makeup. But he must have really been upset about that eye, because he sees that and he just decides to break out of prison. Did he have a plan already, or is he just like Sarah Connor, like, now's the day I got to do it?
Yeah, like, oh no, I lost an eye because I thought she, I threw her off a cliff. She died, and it was worth it. But no, I gotta finish the job.
Yeah, he's so angry about. I'm like, he had 3 hots in a cot right now. Free medical. Free medical. You don't need to go chasing her down. But it does kind of, the fact that they can introduce that guy, and he's kind of a monster, because he ain't got about the one eye. He's like super bald. Not just bald, super bald.
Yep.
like shaved and waxed, skull bald.
Yeah, he almost looked like a different version of Chad from the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yeah, he just looks like a punk rock monster, kind of, or a white
Yep.
supremacist, or something. You just don't know what.
Yeah.
Or like a penis that had a piercing, but it went in the wrong spot. Like, because he's got that earring too. And yeah, he breaks out.
His character's
somehow
name is
tracks it
One-Eyed
down.
Jack.
Yeah. Character's One-Eyed Jack, and his brilliant plan for how to kill her is to kidnap a group of carolers.
Yeah, like I'm gonna sneak in behind this group of carolers, hold them up, and then make them sing, and
How
then
did that
plus
conversation go? 'Cause you got several concerns there. You've got like crowd control, no one can run away, and then also like I'm gonna need you guys to like sing convincingly with a gun to all your backs.
Yeah,
Your
maybe they
normal
were already
civilians.
coming up to the thing. They were already walking around singing, and they were coming up. She's like, and then he saw them. He's like, "All right, I'm gonna blend in behind you guys. Hide me well, or you get blasted."
I like to think that he was like caroling with them for like 2 hours, but they kept just kind of hovering around her house, and finally he just had to be like, "Okay, guys, no, we're going to this house. Here's my gun. We're going there. I'm going to
See the gun?
kill a lady.
You don't sing, you get the gun. You
I'm
get
the weird
bullets.
guy who's been wandering around town going, where's the hot Mrs. Claus I saw on TV for the last
right.
6 hours, and now I've linked up with some carolers for 2 more hours, and now I'm just out of time." Chill cops in whatever town they live in, too, because they did not kill Samuel L. Jackson. He's like,
No, they just arrested him. Like, oh no, she's with me.
I mean, the thing with the grenade and jumping out the window and going through the ice and the
Oh
thing
my
with
God.
the truck, those things are pretty unrealistic. But on the words of Samantha Cain's daughter, they don't just blow Mitch Hennessy's head off. Don't shoot him! Don't shoot!
Don't shoot him. Yeah, listen to the girl. Don't shoot.
I feel like there must be like 15, 20 minutes of this cut out because his backstory kind of makes sense, but it's also kind of just like, yeah, I was a cop. I used to love stealing from people. I'm a fuck up. That's all he like. Yeah, I'm a fuck up. And towards the end, he gets a redemption. I can stop being a fuck up. Shoot a bunch of people. Not great life advice for anyone who's a fuck up. Probably not the way out. There you have it. And of course, we had, as you mentioned, Mr. Brian Cox, who keeps a separate gun on his cock,
Yep.
which is a major plot point as well.
Yeah, because he mentions it. Like when people search you, nobody cares to, search around that area. Back then, nowadays, yeah, everybody taps around that to make sure.
Oh, it's just plot convenience. It's just something. I mean, it's a great little scene where they're like bickering about whether or not she needs to shoot Samuel L. Jackson, and Samuel is like, "How many guns you got?" He's like, 3, 1, 2, and then 1 by my dick because homophobia might save my life someday. It didn't, but it saved her life. And also, Rennie Harlan's a pretty good director because so when she meets up with her ex-target, who she thinks is like her ex-fiance, and he captures and kidnaps her, and then he puts her on the big wheel
water
thing.
torture. Yep.
The first or second time she's talking to him, she actually looks at the other guy put the gun in by his dick, which is not where you're supposed to put your gun, by the way.
Yeah.
And that triggers her knowledge that there's a dick gun underwater that she could get. Dick gun plays a huge part in this movie.
Yes, it does.
I
So
love-
does oh man, that's the other part too, is when she's like all doing the Benihana knife work after she got
Again,
like,
her husband is like hyper tolerant of the fact
Yeah,
that he
like,
seems
oh,
to have
man.
brought home the movie villain Predator and tried to make it a housewife.
like chefs do
And
that.
she messed up his cabinet. Oh, I would
Yeah.
be like so like, okay, we need to, I mean, that was cool. I'm kind of scared of you right now. No more throwing knives into my cabinetry. All right?
Nope.
I'm in my 40s. No. Now I got to call a guy to come fix the cap. No. And that you're also wasting food, lady.
Yep.
There's a whole tomato.
Trying to figure out what age like all these people played during the filming. They're all in their like
Gina Davis has got to be playing like a 28-year-old lady. But her husband is obviously like 45.
So 56. So she was 40 in this movie.
He was playing a 40-year-old, or
No, she was 40.
oh damn,
Like, in actual life.
carrying 40 well.
Yep.
I do too. Like the you definitely need a shooting schedule for this movie. 'Cause I don't know if Regina Davis' hair at the beginning is a wig or not, but the second half of the movie with the other, I like the full-on transformation. You know what this movie reminds me of? You remember La Femme Nikita?
Yes. Totally La Femme Nikita.
It feels like one of those USA movies too. Like just a little bit better than like when USA used to. I don't know how they would do it.
You know what though? I think this movie used to run on USA weekends.
La Femme
all the
Nikita
time.
used to run on USA a lot, and then there was
Yes,
like
but
another.
then
I think there was
whole
like two
series.
versions of it too. And they had like
Yeah,
a television series and like I don't know, like a French version and an American version or something like that.
There was a 90s early 2000s series.
I think there's
and
there was
then
a
there's
series, but there's
second.
like 2 feature films about her.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think USA, whoever was in charge of USA at the time, just had like these kids today. They don't know about USA and all the weird movies they would have. Like, there's the weirdest channel. I don't know. Is USA Network still a thing? I have no idea.
You know, I don't know.
But they would call themselves like the greatest movie studio on television or something, and they were a basic cable network that claimed to produce movies, and they would have like a new movie every week. And these movies did exist, but you cannot find these movies anymore. Like Wheels of Terror. I remember Wheels of Terror. You remember that movie?
That's a movie?
Yeah. So there was a movie. There were several movies, but there was like The Duel that Steven Spielberg directed for TV, where the guy's running from the trucker the whole movie. The trucker just keeps harassing him. And then like kind of remember when Fox used to like the movie Twister came out, and Fox real quick scrambled to make a movie called Tornado and put it on their show.
No, I don't remember.
There was like
that.
a time when Fox was doing that, where they would just clone whatever was out in theaters for like 6 weeks. They would just make an asylum film knockoff of it real quick and put it on Fox's broadcast network and all the affiliates. But USA would do it differently, where they would just kind of rip off an idea. Like there was 2 movies back in the 90s, late 90s, about white people being stranded in like a projects building somewhere in the inner city and being chased by black people through the building and shot at for like hour and a half. One of them was a real movie, and one of them was like USA's just like, we could make one of those real quick. Somehow, or there's one out there or something. But yeah, Wheels of Terror was kind of a knockoff of The Duel, where a dirty Camaro chased a mom and her daughter around all day. And you couldn't see in the window.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't remember that one. I remember like Maximum Overdrive.
That's a bad Maximum Overdrive used to scare me to death as a kid, because it would be on like a little bit late.
It's got the
during the
Green
horror
Goblin
movie.
thing.
Yeah, it's got that terrifying truck, which I swear well, it must be real for one thing. I swear I saw it one time on the highway, but only the once. I've never seen it again, which I guess would make sense. There's a lot of trucks in this country. It's probably retired by now.
All it was is a giant Green Goblin looking mask hood thingy.
Yeah, truckers are eccentric too. Like there's some weird trucks out there. So I do think I saw it, but it could be like a phantom memory or something my mind just made up. But I could swear I seen that truck one time. But that movie used to scare, some of the stuff on USA used to scare me to death when I was like 12, 13 years old.
Yeah.
And then I go back and watch like the trailer for Surf Nazis Must Die, and I'm like, this is a comedy. This is like a horror movie, which Maximum Overdrive is pretty close to that too. Terrifying concept though. All the machines just turn on you. Even your remote control car kills the dog.
Is Surf Nazis Must Die like a take on Surf Ninjas or something?
No, Surf Nazis Must Die is just some Troma film. Troma did like Toxic Avenger, and Troma is the label that released Cannibal the Musical, but Troma is just like an independent film company that makes movies usually in incredibly bad taste, like Toxic Avenger, Class of Nukem High, Class of Nukem High 2, which opens with the students had limited locker space, which ended up giving them limited wardrobes. So all the girls in the movie are in bikinis. Like,
Interesting.
they're like a smash up between like a 50s, Earth versus Soup kind of stuff where somebody gets irradiated or something and it becomes a horror movie, and just like horrible punk rock ethos of the 80s. Like their movies are bad.
Interesting. All right. Good to know.
Where were we at in this one?
Oh, we were just at we were discussing the kitchen cabinetry being destroyed.
Oh, yeah. As a grown man, I'd be like, oh no. You first of all, that's coming out of your check. I don't care that you're a teacher and you don't get paid anything. Pretty amazing you got that job anyway with no education, no social security number.
Right? That's just craziness.
Maybe I bet you the thing is like he's 5 years older than her. He's also a teacher, I guess.
Was he? I don't remember.
He has at the beginning. They're having some pitter patter about he produced the Christmas pageant for the school.
Oh yeah.
So he
maybe
works
he's a
at the
drama teacher
school
or
in some
something.
capacity. Maybe he just somehow. This is like the late '90s too. You could just still kind of just get a job if you existed, like a government job. Like there was a lot of. Before computers were as prevalent as they are, there was a lot more ways to fudge your way into the system, right?
Right.
So
Yeah,
maybe she did have ID. She had a full cover.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe, yeah, something. Because they did find her a different ID from that old lady apartment or whatever from Tennessee's research.
Yeah, what might have saved them a lot of time? Just go talk to that old lady first. She said, like, it's my favorite tenant and stuff. I mean, that's movie convenience for sure.
She kept all her stuff because she was my favorite, blah, 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 blah.
I don't know what my favorite sequence in the movie. I really like the sequence with the torture where they got her on the water wheel thing. And they keep putting her underwater. Because that's like, there's a lot of tension building there. And it's like a terrifying scenario. But she can also believably get out of those ropes. You're looking at that, you're like, yeah, you can get out of that. I don't know how many times you've been tied up. If somebody ties you up, if you work on it long enough, everything stretches. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, especially, but the thing is, when it gets wet, though, it actually
should stretch more.
I don't know if it stretched more.
Oh,
or
yeah,
not.
yeah. Remember?
Okay, fine.
Yeah. What's that movie with he's a cowboy, Jackie Chan?
Oh,
Shanghai Nights?
Shanghai Noon?
Shanghai Noon? Yeah.
All those, Shanghai movies.
Wet shirt doesn't rip. His shirt doesn't rip. Yeah, no, if you wet something down, that's like MacGyver physics. You got to piss on your shirt to bend the bars to get you out of the prison. No.
Right.
Yeah, wood gets more flexible. Anything you put water in, it's going to get more flexible unless you freeze that water. Now, it's pretty cold water, but it wasn't frozen, so. And also, you're looking at the way she's tied up. You're like, yeah, you can get out of that.
Yeah, that was easy. Her hands were pretty loose.
And it's, they did up good makeup and all that with the, how physically affecting that would be on your wrists and your feet. It would not be a fun time to get out of that. But you get out of that and you get that dick gun, you shoot the dude. And you go rescue Hennessy.
That's right.
Yeah. And it's it looks to me like Gina Davis is underwater several times to make that sequence. That is terrifying. Like to actually
I'm just wondering,
do
like,
that in real life to get those shots.
The water was steaming, right? So they had to at least warm the water in that cold.
I wonder if it was steaming, or was it supposed to be that it's so cold that when water gets really cold too, you're going to see a little bit of smoke coming out.
That's true too. Yeah. So I wonder if she was
almost every time I've heard about anything to do with making a movie, they're always like, yeah, the water was ice cold because you're going to heat up that much water. Like,
to
get a camera rig under there and all that big water wheel and all that. I think water was probably pretty cold. Yeah. She was definitely wearing a padded bra though, because I keep looking for nipplage. Right, like she's turning blue, and they did good. They put like some real dark purple lipstick on her, so it looks like all the oxygen's leaving her face because she's so cold. It's like this movie's like incredibly well done. I love that set piece there. I also love her little line. I let you touch me, cowboy. I think I need a bath, after she decides how she's going to kill him. And Dumbass is just like, well, the water thing always worked before. I guess instead of just shooting her in the head. I'll put her back in the bath thing. And she comes up and kills him. And then the sequence at the train station when all the thugs start coming to kill her. After Pretty Boy figures out she's like easy to kill.
Yep.
When she goes for Samuel L. Jackson's gun in the pocket and just fires it from the pocket, like no hesitation. I love scenes like that. And Heat, when, what's his name? Doc Holliday. When Doc Holliday's coming out of that bank at Heat and he's got that machine gun like at his side and he's just walking and smiling and smiling and smiling and he spots the cops and without missing a beat just brings a gun up and starts shooting. Like his smile disappears and in perfect harmony with that gun coming up and him just starting to rail on cops. Good times. Good movie.
Val Kilmer.
Val Kilmer. Yeah. Doc Holliday. And then, of course, all the stuff at the end is cool, too.
Well, again, over the top in the train station, you know, they're got a grenade thrown at them.
Mm-hmm. And the grenade, nothing about the grenade makes any sense at all.
Yeah, like the grenade gets thrown at them, and then like, oh, we gotta run, go for the window, and then
well, first Samuel L. Jackson stares at the grenade for 5.5 minutes. And then the one-liner he throws out, it's like the most long and impossibly long thing you could ever possibly say in your life. Fuck it, run for your fucking life, or something like that. Just scream run. And then they also have enough time while the grenade is exploding behind them, and it's a magic fire grenade.
Yeah, that grenade put out way more power than it should have.
It's fire too. Grenades are like, they go off like Mount St. Helens. They just throw. I guess there are like incendiary grenades, and maybe that was one of them. But first of all, fire doesn't move in slow motion like that. They have enough time to have a little conversation about how they're going to need to jump through the window. But that idea, the physics of that idea are like so great. She shoots out the window. She had seen the signage before. It shows her looking around and sees the no skating thing, which also ties back to the other skating thing.
Towards the end.
At the beginning, she's teaching her daughter to skate, and since her daughter can't skate good, she's like, "You'll never be a good spy. I'm going to drown you." And then, towards the end, like 2/3 of the waypoint, she's on ice skates skating
and shooting people.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure that while you're shooting the gun, it does like decrease the momentum. But no, that's physics doesn't play here.
No, actually, I think it would be like. You'd be able to level that gun almost perfectly as opposed to running and shooting someone, right? Because water seeks its own level. Water is always level, so when it freezes and you're skating across it, yeah, it'd be as good as like a camera dolly rig for shooting.
Yeah.
So I don't think that exact scenario would ever happen in real life. And it's the biggest part with that one is like she had to take time to put on ice skates.
Yeah,
in the middle of what's essentially a shootout.
It wasn't even like a Velcro, it's full laced up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like, I guess.
And where's her other shoes after she's done, like, killing these people?
Oh, yeah, isn't she driving a car immediately afterwards? She's gonna have a hard time doing that in skates.
and then Hennessy says, you know, you could aim for their shoulder instead of shooting them dead. I'm like, dude, these guys are trying to kill you.
Yeah, they had, like, the armament of the entire Kuwaiti army in that vehicle.
They're coming to kill you, but yeah, no, let's maim them instead of, killing them, whatever.
So then Pretty Boy Bad Guy Man, who's just the most evil character in all of cinema history except for the bad guy in RoboCop, kidnaps her daughter from a church during a Christmas pageant with some sort of chemical knockout gas thing, and then threatens another person in the church with a knife for seeing him. You're about to have 4.5 children or something like that. And then he goes, Merry Christmas. If he was just drawn out, I feel like there's probably 40 minutes on the cutting room floor of this that it would make it like a lot better movie, but it's long enough, honestly.
I feel like there's a lot other stuff that could have got cut out that didn't need to make the take.
Yeah, I wish he was drawn a little bit better than just being like kind of a mustache twirling villain, but he is just like so hateable. Throughout. Like when you first meet him, he's like just playing with his food. He's got that guy all tied up, and he's like, I'm just gonna cut you up for fun. And then if you didn't completely hate him after the whole abducting a child dressed as an angel in a church and threatening two other children, to their mother's face with a knife and then saying Merry Christmas, there's always the part where she's like, it's your baby. And he goes, would you bring my little bitch in here? Like, oh my God, kill this man. And then he decides he's like, oh, it is his kid. And he's going to kill the child anyway. Like, he's a bad guy. He deserved what happened.
He deserved what he got. The funny thing too is, like, I remember watching it through the first time, and I was like, "Oh yeah, he fell in the water." You know, people don't die just falling in water just because. And then he doesn't. He comes back, cut up.
Well, you knew he couldn't be dying the first time because he didn't die screaming, and she had made a movie hero promise.
Yeah, you're gonna die screaming.
That you're gonna die screaming. That explosion at the end, picking up the car being driven by Samuel L. Jackson, is like. That's got to be one of the biggest explosions in film history.
It's crazy, yeah.
So
and then the kid says, "Don't hit the cars."
And again,
like, what do you think he's trying to do?
Samuel L. Jackson's like an immortal because all that happened, and then he gets out of a car in front of a bunch of police, and they don't kill him. Again.
Yeah, he's black, and
anyone. Barney, the purple dinosaur, could have been driving that car, gotten out, and he would have got lit up.
Yep.
He destroyed an international border for all they know, and kidnapped these two white ladies.
And so technically, once they got through, they're in the Canadian side. And
that explains why they didn't shoot him.
Yeah, no, but I don't think anybody came after them. And
well, how would you? The bridge is gone.
Well, the bridge is gone, and everybody that was chasing after them from the U.S. government got blown up. All the cars went flying and landing in front of them in a fiery tombstone. All that perfect landing of the cars face down was kind of ridiculous.
And we can't forget the fact that Samuel L. Jackson gets blown through a 1950s neon hotel sign at one point while strapped to a chair.
Yep, went straight through and then hit a tree.
Yeah.
And landed, 20 feet up in the air and coming down from the tree, hitting no branches in between.
Well, his rebirth, when he sits back up in that car and the music hits, it's just like, it's perfect. This movie didn't do any like serious box office, and it didn't become like a major like thing like Die Hard where it was like always on. But if you watched it and you've paid attention to it, it's like a great little action movie.
Yeah, and it's also another great Christmas movie.
And it looks real. I can't watch these frickin' Marvel movies because everyone has been like digitally glossed just a little bit. It's like when they used to smear Vaseline on the camera to point at old ladies on Star Trek. Everything just looks a little bit like a cartoon at all times to me now. And I watch a movie like this, I'm like, wow, this is like a house that looks like people live in it. Not everything's not like brand new from the day before. Like, they didn't just go out and dress the set right exactly out of a mall the day before, and people look like more or less real people, except for Gina Davis, who is just phenomenally interesting-looking person. I don't know if I would... Well, she's hot after she cuts her hair, for sure. She's pretty up until that point. Then when she becomes Manic Pixie Angel of Death Girl, that's when Gina Davis really does it for me.
Wow, okay.
I got a type.
You got a type, yep. Then she looks like Thelma and Louise at the end.
Yeah, this is the original ending to Thelma and Louise. All right, well, we got anything else to say about this bitch?
Nah, I think we got it. We covered it all. Great one-liners. Can't kill him, motherfucker.
Yeah, it feels like a real movie.
Feels like a great movie. And
plot doesn't revolve around a giant golden glove being... worn by a giant purple dude with a cool voice, so that's nice.
What I appreciate is that there was no unnecessary sequel that like she had another secret, something that you go and find, that it was left alone and no need for a reboot, no need for a sequel, nothing.
I think there was a script at one point, but I don't think... So Shane Black is like one of the greatest action movie writers of all time, right? He wrote Lethal Weapon. He wrote this. He wrote several movies that are like Christmas and action themed for some reason. But that first Lethal Weapon, that script is tight. Like, it is the quintessential buddy cop movie ever. It just nails all the beats and nails them right. Really does a good characterization for Mel Gibson and a pretty good characterization for the guy who kills the second Predator. And Shane Black is in Predator because I wanted him to put jokes in it. But he refused. He said, I just want to do some acting. So his character is the character that tells jokes to the giant Indian guy.
Okay.
Throughout the movie, those are the only jokes he wrote for it. And then, 20, 30 years later, they asked him to write a Predator movie, and everyone's like, oh, it's going to be so good because Shane Black's the best action movie screenwriter ever. And what this mother came back with was basically Predator versus Police Academy. And just, like a franchise killing. I understand that they just said, you do exactly what we tell you. We'll just give you a huge pile of cash and you'll make a horrible movie, but it's not going to hurt you because you're Shane Black. And he's like, yeah, I get it. We're in the Instagram age. The concept of a sellout doesn't even exist anymore. Just give me the money. I'll just give you the garbage you want. I haven't even seen that, but I've seen enough of it to be like, I don't even want to sully my eyes watching this. Is it Predator 3?
No, I think you're talking like The Predator. So it's
I think The Predator. Well, there's Predator. Predator 2, Look Who's Come to Town with a Few Hours to Kill. Great tagline. Great movie. One of the greatest sequels ever. Predator versus Danny Glover.
Yes.
And then there's like, I don't know, 30 different Alien versus Predator things that happened, and they're all bad. And then there's Predator versus Police Academy. And then finally there's Predator versus the Native American. I think that's The Predator.
You mean the latest one, the last one before the current animated one, which is called Prey.
Prey. Okay, yeah. Okay, so then they called it The Predator for Predator 3.
Oh, so yeah. So in 2010 there was Predators.
But that's another like Aliens versus Predator kind of low effort. We just get a bunch of character
that one had Adrian Brody in it.
But they kidnap a bunch of people and bring them to like a zoo where they hunt people, like an animal preserve.
they drop them, like all these people got dropped off into a third party planet.
Right. Yeah. So it's like a safari planet for predators. I want to know how the predator like hunting things economy works.
It had Adrian Brody, Walton Goggins, and Lawrence Fishburne.
And it's crap.
And it was like had all these big names, and it did not do well. No,
I've seen most of that. Everyone is like, you know how each Ninja Turtle has their own weapon and attitude? That's what all the characters in that feel like. I was like Michelangelo, Donatello, and Raphael, except Michelangelo, Donatello, and Raphael much better drawing characters than Lawrence Fishburne is the guy who hides out from predators in the jungle on some planet. Also, when I see a movie like that, like I can understand that Arnold Schwarzenegger would think, okay, maybe I can fight this thing and live. If I wake up on another planet, I'm just going to be like, I don't really want to play this game with this giant monster guy. Because you still don't have a car at the end of it. Say you survive. How do you get home?
Yeah, I mean that's just it. Maybe that's what the predators do. You win, we let you live and take you back.
That's got to be an awkward car ride.
They just trank you and then drop you back off where they picked you up.
Why
this
is just kind of what we do.
I just don't understand how they how the predators randomly picked up these group of ragtag.
They're the most awesomest killers on the whole earth, including a samurai, because that's a type of killing that's been employed a lot in the last 300 years. I get how, yeah, you gotta have like.
It was a yakuza, okay.
There must be like some little predator satellite full of scientists who like go looking for like all the coolest people to fight or something. It makes sense that you would like, okay, it's a pretty well developed planet, but if we go to South America, there's just people no one would miss. Right? And we could just go into the jungles of South America, go a little buck wild over the weekend, 3-day weekend, kill a bunch of things, and go home. And then it's a little bit more of a stretch to go, okay, we're going to go to a major American city and start killing dudes.
So to go back on that, though, Shane Black didn't write this one. He wrote the one after this one.
He wrote the one where Police Academy, where it's all the mess ups from the He wrote Predator versus Spaceballs, basically.
Yeah.
Like, it's like completely not in the spirit of the original, and you're like, but You were like there at the beginning. Predator is like one of the greatest ideas for like a terrifying, inscrutable monster, right? Like that idea that you're like you're on the other side of the planet and this thing that's happening to you like is incomprehensible, but it's undeniably happening. So someone is treating you like you might treat a lion if you were a billionaire right now. It's fucked up.
I don't even know how, again, most of these people were randomly picked.
I'm telling you, the whole Predator economy, right? I mean, they have to have, like, engineers and stuff to make their spaceships, so they also probably have people who just, like, okay, we go look at the planet, and we find you a bunch of dudes to kill. It's like a monthly subscription fee. It used to be like a flat rate. All right, I think we can wrap this up.
Yeah, we're going way out of the original.
We're out of bounds. Oh, but we did have the idea of just from here on out just doing kind of sequels.
Yeah.
Sequels. I want to do RoboCop 2 because that's one of my favorite like off.
All right, let's do it. RoboCop 2. That sounds great to me because I think that's also a great. Like the original was great, but RoboCop 2, I still feel like it did not need a sequel or a third or however many freaking ones they wanted to produce.
A new RoboCop with
Mr.
Mr. Mom, and then Terminator versus RoboCop the game, which is like, how would these two people run into each other? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, nope.
Yeah, but I think doing kind of because I want to focus in a little bit on those. Predator 2 is pretty off the wall sequel.
Yeah, but see that I feel like that was also a good sequel.
I think RoboCop 2 is an amazing sequel. It's not RoboCop, not quite, but it's like true enough to it. It's just as angry and sarcastic as RoboCop, but it's a totally different director, and the story is almost the exact same.
I'm gonna have to. I'll have to watch it.
We got to do RoboCop 2, and then we'll do Predator 2, Terminator 2, Batman Begins. You want to talk about buck wild, crazy, insane sequel ideas for like an established property?
Okay.
And then somewhere in there, Never-Ending Story 2, which will...
I don't even want to touch that one.
Oh no! You want to talk about like a perfect movie being completely... But no, thankfully, no one remembers there's a Never-Ending Story.
Right,
2.
because like the first movie was great. They did not need to make a sequel.
It's a flawless children's movie, I would say. It's perfect, yeah. But I guess it's only like a piece of the book. Oh, and we'll talk about when we talk about it. All right, so sequels from here on out for the next little while on Odd Crew Rules. You can't kill us, motherfuckers.
That's right.
We die.
We cannot die. Enjoy it.
Blast me through a hotel sign strapped to a chair and into a tree in the middle of winter so the whole thing's frozen solid. I'm still kicking.
That's right. 5 stars. 5 stars. Yeah. Recommended. Watch it.
I try to be earnest with women, unless I'm in Chicago. Then I'm some other guy's name. This time I'm going to win my son love back by calling myself a player on Larry King. All right.
Frank and Ernest.
Oh, Frank and Ernest, yeah. Oh, such bad jokes. Such bad jokes. All right, that's a wrap on episode 1 of Odd Crew Rules. We didn't say anything wrong or bad about anyone we know. Perfect. Assholes, those people. All right, later.
All right, bye.